Okay, we are live. Listen, listen, I want to be honest here about some things. Hello, Lisa. We made it. This September, hi, Habiba. Hello, Luke. Good morning, sunshine. Listen, I am struggling, and I'm going to tell you why I am struggling. Hi, Mia. Girl, we got to do some ribs this weekend. Hey, Chris. Hi, Barb. I am struggling because I like to do my editorials and get them out there, right? And I made the really cute editorial, and I was like, okay, this is what we're going to be talking about all September. We were going to do the Gilded Age then and now, right? Like that era and like what the Gilded Age doesn't want us to know and how we are repeating these cycles. So I had all of these articles written out, at least like the format, and then I could like kind of fill it in with yummy details. And I did this, whilst I was off. And then all of the world collapsed with Charlie Kirk and so many other things happening. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, okay, so it would feel disingenuous. Good morning, Julie. It would feel disingenuous if I didn't honor what was actually happening in the world, right? So I am behind on certain things. Like, right, I'm still finishing off the article for today. And I am trying to align it still with what I said I was going to provide, right? Because I said I was going to do something and I want to do that. Good morning. Good morning. So I'm sitting here and I'm struggling. I am struggling, you guys. And I am open to hearing what you have to say because I am like, shit, shit. That's it. That's where I'm at. So today's article, and I'm really going through it and I'm trying, it's such heavy context, right? So I'm like really trying to see what's the best way to deliver it. And right, today's article, we're going to be discussing why allyship is not new, right? Like a false allyship is not new. Performative, better. Performative allyship is not a new thing. How these things have always happened. I'm trying to tie it to the Gilded Age and bringing all of that. And I think it's going to make sense. And I'm trying to figure out. Okay, here's where I'm at. So we're going to be live today, and I don't have an actual topic. Well, I had an actual topic, but the topic was going to be based on not what's happening today in today's world and time. And I think again that it would be dismissive and disingenuous if I do not address the situations that are going on right now and tie them into our anti-oppression and liberation journey. Yeah, it does. Julie says shit sounds apropos for these times. Yeah, that's shit. That's all I can shit. And I'm doing all of the things. I have a really cool focus group now on Facebook for the Liberation Education Academy. I am loving that. And so right now, here is what we're going to be going live about. And I would love your input. I find it to be important. I am writing to you. So your voice matters to me, right? Because I want you to open these things, read it, apply it, take it, sit with it, discuss it, all of the things. Should I, and I was thinking about this morning, should I just scrap my September editorial calendar and sort of just intuit what we need to be discussing? Does that feel good? Does that seem like the right thing to do? Good morning, Marge. Hi, Abia. Um, that's where I'm at. So you guys tell me that while I add some links to this really cool article. I did not see one, but you see this? I've been sitting outside lately. Look, here we go. You're gonna get the angle. You get all the chins. Isn't that cute? So whilst I add these links in to this, wait, you probably can't hear me. I want you to think about that. Should I just scrap the editorial calendar? Just say, forget about it. Stop trying to do that. Thank you. Jen says, trust your instincts. You have a great intuition. So here's what it is that I do trust my instincts and I do believe in my intuition, Jen, right? So I was sitting there and I was like, I agree with Jen. Jenny says, no, don't scrap it, integrate. So that's where I was leaning at, Julie, right? Is that it is like, you know what? I feel like it's almost more of a manifestation to turn around and be like, okay, watch me tie this into the Gilded Age. I love the Gilded Age series. It was amazing. And I'm like, I think that there is such truth on like these time loops and cycles repeating themselves. So what does that look like? So I thank you, Julie. Honestly, Thank you for affirming that, right? Thank you, Jen, for affirming that. Thank you guys for reminding me to trust myself and to lean into what I was feeling anyway. And honestly, the affirming and validating my choice. So with that being said, that is exactly what I'm trying to do. And I'm going back, right? Yeah, I am doing that. Mia says also we've both. So things are going to be a little bit delayed, right? So I hope that you just offer me the grace and space. Um, that you will get every single article promised in the editorial. They may not be on the exact dates, right? Because now things are changing, right? So, like I said, like this one is supposed to be performative allyship. I believe that I had it scheduled for September 12th, right? And I'm like, no, because I was writing other things. So that didn't happen, right? Um, and I'm not a machine, right? Like, so that's like, I can't just crank out, right? Because I really love the work that I'm doing and I want to show up wholly in it in all of the ways. Jen says it makes sense to blend them. Lisa says you got this integration into current events. Julie says you know what should be done. Like Jen says, trust your guts. Hi, John Dugan. Julie, flexibility is the name of the game. Well, yeah, that's pretty much it, right? And then that's what we're talking about this morning. It's just like the ability to be flexible, right? To move with things. And I think that it's a true testament to you guys and to me, right? Like to us and the work and the world that we're co-creating because everything I like when the universe confirms. Everything is not static, right? I talk about that often. I'm like, we are dynamic human beings. We have dynamic needs. What I need today is not going to be what I need tomorrow. What I needed yesterday is not what the hell I need today, an hour from now, right? So just leaning into that and trusting that. Thank you. Thank you guys for trusting me. So yeah, today's article, we're going to be, just so much. There's so much to discuss inside of this Charlie Kirk situation, right? And I really want us to recognize that my work here is decolonization, period, point blank, full stop, right? Like, that's it. And one of the main things to decolonize, right? Like, maybe I can make a map or steps or probably have it somewhere, maybe from my TikTok lessons. You got to release the binary. That is a big one, right? We can't turn around and say, um, it's just right or wrong. It's just good or evil. It's just impossible. Charlie Kirk's murder is an absolute wonderful opening. The other day I had posted and I was talking about Charlie Kirk, and on my Facebook post, somebody came in and was like, "We are Charlie Kirk," with a cool little AI meme with a bunch of Charlie Kirk's repeated, kind of like the scene from The Matrix, like when all the Smiths came in, and he was like, "We are Charlie Kirk." And I'm like, "Yes, and you're also Tyler." And that is the work that I do. Like, yeah, hey, got it. You are Charlie Kirk, but you're also Tyler. And what are we doing about that? What are we doing about that part? What are we doing about the end part, right? More conversations that are happening is like, I touched on it the other day where they were like, "Oh, well, I feel so sorry for his wife or his wife and children are better off without him." And I'm like, why are we feigning such innocence? Like he was such a duplicitous person that his wife had no idea what he was doing. Meanwhile, she has her own merch line, her own podcast. She got up there not even 48 hours later talking about if you think his message was something when he was alive, wait till you see now that he's gone. And I'm like, nothing stands in the way of white women moving forward like white men, right? Like, see, without him there, she gets to be the martyred widow and push that narrative further. And white women have hand in hand walked with white men in doing this, in creating, co-creating, um, louding up the white supremacist delusion. There's no feigning innocence here. So there's just like so much in this one situation, right? Then we could be having conversations about the distractions that the media uproar of this all causes, right? How it only focuses on the racism and not the internal war, not, the trans antagonistic language. There's just like so much in this one thing and then me tying it into the Gilded Age, right? Where this what this looked like in the late 1800s and moving into, those early 1900s, and how the South, in fact, did rise again, right? What we're witnessing is the Klan in action without the hoods. They don't need them anymore. There's just so much. There's just so much. I'm going to roll back through these comments. Stand by. Mm, 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 mm. Jen says that event's called. Oh, I gotta tap on it. Hold on, Jen. You know how it goes. You were on live with me Friday with friends. With fans. That's how Morgan says it. Um, Geez Louise, why can't I tap it and do the thing? Okay. That event caused acceleration to demand exactitude from a creator. It's unreasonable, especially from Black women, when that acceleration included two Black men's lives, which is very, very true, right? Like that it does then demand so much, right? And I'm really good. I share a lot, like, oh, taking a break, nope, not going live today or what have you. I'm really good about that. So, but thank you for recognizing that. Julie agrees. Jen says, nothing in all creation exists on a binary. Why does it have to be that way for humans? Well, it doesn't have to be that way for humans, right? Like that is part of the supremacy culture. That's one of those 15 pillars of supremacy culture that we are working to dismantle here. Hey, Karen. Hey, Julie. Both and two things can be true at once, and more than two. More like I often say, right? Because like people have come into that, two things could be true at once, but multiple truths, multiple, more than one, more than two, more than five, right? All of them, there are multiple truths that are happening, right? There are multiple things, right? We can turn around and just from a human lens and say it is wrong for him to be murdered. In such a fashion in front of everybody, right? Because, not for nothing, but that's not going everybody that was there needs trauma care. Like, everybody that was there needs trauma care, right? It's also true to turn around and say, like, well, he promoted that. You live by the gun, you die by the gun, all of those things. It's also true to say that you can mourn for him. It's also true to say that there's no reason to kill. There's so many truths that can happen at the same time swirling about, right? And I really do hope that if this reaches anyone that was there, that you go get some trauma care. You really sit down, witnessing someone lose their life even in the most loving and gentlest times can bring up a lot of stuff. In a violent, unprovoked situation, it's even worse. Please figure out how to take care of yourself, right? Hell, even the killer is going to need therapy for taking someone's life. There's a lot. There's just a lot. There's just a lot. It's just a lot. Jen says, I feel like we are all Tyler in that they keep trying to find him and him. I feel like we are all Tyler in that they keep trying to find him and that inherently makes him a patsy. Yeah, the weird text messages that came out, I'm like, I don't know. And they're making him into a patsy for a reason to target my transgender community. We're all Tyler because white supremacy defines us, not the other way around. And that is a definite conversation. See, that in and of itself is an article. Because in this article, I have a section where it's like, we are Charlie. And I go into the like, okay, but that is at the extreme point of whiteness, which is the birth canal of whiteness. What happens to all of the others? And then the call comes to white people is what do you plan on doing about that, right? As I said in our live last time, it's like racism for a moment. And I hate to say it like this, but like I don't even have other words. Racism right now, the emergent care is the internal violence of whiteness. Racism has to take a background and not necessarily a background because it's the foundation, right? Back to the multiple truths. Is what I want to see is deeper and more nuanced conversations amongst white body people. I do not want to see the focus being on HBCUs or Black people being threatened. That is on brand. That is what whiteness does. That is not new. That is not nuanced. That is not a fucking aha moment. That is just the fact of violence that white people are violent specifically to Black people. But I really, for the deeper care, for the dismantling, for the decolonization work, you guys have got to have deeper conversations about what you guys are doing to each other. You are both Charlie and Tyler. So what happens then, right? Does this mean that, liberal white people who do not believe in being armed, are you going to become more armed? Are you looking at self-defense more, right? And that's those I'm not seeing those conversations, right? I'm more seeing where white baddie people are, that liberal. Remember we talked about that, right? Like it always comes down to that middle ground, that oh well, no one deserves to die, no one da 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 da. And I'm like, what's happening here? What's happening? And even that is performative allyship, right? We have to just deepen these conversations is because you can't be a white bodied person and say that you are allies to trans people, you're allies to Jewish people, to queer people, to disabled people, and then not understand that the violent rhetoric that happens coming out of right wing spaces, right? The birth canal of whiteness absolutely impacts those people. And the reason why I am so hell bent on white body people internalizing and realizing that this impacts you guys. The violence that we experience is because it has come through you, right? It's like the man that goes to work and is getting shit on by his boss, comes home, shits on his wife, the wife shits on the kids, somebody's kicking the dog, right? Shit rolls downhill. Like, that's just like, you know, where do we stop this? How do we dig up this root? Let me read some more comments again. They're making him a patsy. Hi, Jonathan, Ariana, Marge. Marge says, I am a white woman who is a flaming liberal. I love that. I love that language. I was brought up, as the Bible says, the Republican agenda is men being bullies and women saying, yes, sir, which I agree. But when are you going to work on deconditioning that response, right? Because white feminism does not decondition that response. White feminism positions you to compete with white men and become white men, right? In that pyramid scheme of whiteness. So what we then in turn have is the patriarchy in pink. And what we, the global majority and the non-white people who are into more like, let's say, womanism, is saying is it needs to be, cyclical, children first. We need to dismantle it. Patriarchy harms men first, right? Like I just said, shit rolls downhill. In order for him to subdue you, some system subdued him, right? So most people do not want for others what they don't have for themselves. So again, there's a deeper conversation because what it positions white women as is childlike victims, right? And that is so disempowering. I don't understand how it happens to be the foundation of something like feminism that's intended to be empowering. Jen says, I've been talkative. Sorry. Don't you ever apologize for talking. This is my style. Is literally conversational liberation. I really dislike that I can't just jump on a Zoom and just like hang out with people and just like talk all day. Because honestly, that is what I enjoy, right? I believe in a Socratic style of learning and teaching. And I think that each one of us has something that we could all draw from, learn from. So continue to talk, share your thoughts. These lives are created for that space to do so. Don't apologize for existing. Yes, more than two. Julie agrees with the multiple truths. Karen says, all of this has been a wild lesson in learning to try to see all the versions of the truth. It is, right? And I thank you for being willing to look at that, right? And I fucking hate the binary. Like people were telling people, oh, if you feel sorry for him, you're a Nazi. Shut the fuck up. Like, please stop talking. Because when you're speaking like that, specifically with white people, when white people are talking to other white people like this, creating this binary, it is still this idea of you trying to be the better white. And one thing I love to remind white people of, and take a breath, get ready. There are no good white people. That's heavy. But it should be freedom, right? It should be freedom. I want you to release yourself from the binary of being the good white. There are no good white people. You know why there are no good white people? The system is set up for there not to be any good white people. And I'm going to share my own story, right? Yesterday, I invited people into the Liberation Education Facebook group, and it was my mommy's birthday. My mommy is white. I very much love my mom. Like, I very much love my white family. That's not this. They're all over my wall. We have a very good relationship. I'm not one of those like tragic mulattoes if like their family was abusive and horrible to them. I'm very deeply rooted in who I am. And I grew up with an ethnic identity of being Irish. So I'm very proud of that. And my Irishness never barred me from my Blackness. So I never saw them as white. So I have a lot of nuance in my own life, right? But I give this story. My mom wound up in a car accident, and so she had lost her leg. And if I am putting my mom into the car and she falls, because I am also disabled, what do you think people are going to see when they see me wrestling trying to put her into the car? I assure you, the first thing that they're going to think is not that I'm her child and I need help. Okay. At best, they'll think that I am the help, right? I'm probably like the home health aide or her nursing assistant trying to get my client into the car. At worst, they'll think I am this Black woman that is shaking down this disabled white woman. And the truth of the matter is what's saving me from the worst is my complexion. That's colorism, right? Now, if you take my father, who's a 6'1", very unambiguously Black man, 4C hair, nose, lips, all of the things, and you put him in that same scenario, there is no best case scenario. Best is they'll think that they're trying to rob her or harm her, and they'll stop him. Worst case is he dies helping his wife get in a car. That's what I mean by there are no good white people. The system sets you up in opposition of the global majority to always be harmful to us, no matter what. That is the system of whiteness. That is what I mean. Da-da-da. Marge says they need trauma counseling because they were there listening to his BS. Yes, and right? Like you could be there listening to his BS, but like we're all trying to wade our way through the bullshit. Right? We were not all, me, myself included. I didn't even know what redlining was until I was damn near 30. We all did not. So we were all at one point in time easily led astray. We all came up underneath these same systems. We all came up underneath a Christian nation. We all pledged allegiance. We all said under God, one nation indivisible. Under God. That was our pledge. Right? We all came up underneath that. So now when you turn around and you promise white men something, right? That top tier of that pyramid scheme of whiteness, you promised white men something. You promised them life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. You promised them that they were owed a wife, that they were owed land, that they were owed this, right? So they're born into this entitlement. And white women and their children became their property, and their children are extensions of their legacy. So that means that these people have to consistently perform those hierarchies of whiteness. And then as we people become more woke and you learn true history, that starts dismantling that, right? And you're leaving them with nothing. I said this the other day in regard to leaving white supremacy is like leaving a DV situation, right? Leaving supremacy culture, it's 100% likened to exiting domestic violence or in person violence. Right? So when someone is leaving a violent situation, what needs to be created for them? And I'm really hoping to work with that, Dr. Angie on this. This is her specialty, DV, and I've been having conversation in Sarah Metz's somatic group. And I really, really want to bring that into the Liberation Education Academy, like what this looks like. Leaving supremacy culture is like leaving DV. So while what are you creating? Where do these people land, right? Specifically white people. And no, that is not our job because Black people are trying to survive, you guys. I am tasking white people to ask yourselves, what are you creating community wise for these people to leave the bullshit? For these people, when they hear it, to be able to clock that it's bullshit. Because there's some things that you clocked even as a liberal that you did not realize was bullshit. I bet you believed slavery ended and everything was okay. Right? You believed like, oh, once slavery ended, what were we doing? You know, you've been free for the last 300 years, right? Oh, segregation. Okay, I understand that. Like you did not know the depths of the horrors of what people experience. So we have all been victim of the propaganda and the bullshit. So what does that look like to give space to that? That yes, they still need trauma counseling, right? That for me, it sounds very much like, well, what were you wearing? Or um, she should have known better, right? He was an asshole, so of course he was going to beat her ass. It all sounds the same to me. So I'm really questioning all of these things. Stand by, my son's teacher just called, and I need to at least text him back. Uh, T, call Karen's teacher. Do you have Karen's teacher's number? Okay, hold on. Can I call on here? I could text her on here. On the she on here? No, I'm trying to see if I can actually call from here. I could FaceTime. I can't call. Sorry, guys. Give me a second. When the teachers are calling, it's probably I could FaceTime audio. She's iPhone. She does.
Hello.
Hi, I'm sorry. I'm on live on my phone, but I wanted to reach you, so I'm calling you from my computer. So that's the FaceTime audio.
Okay, yeah, no, Karen is having a moment right now, and we're like we're on the bus to go to the field trip, and he's just listening to you right now. He's upset because his stress ball, like the football, I believe he dropped it, and so now it's like he had it out. I don't know. Somehow it's gone.
Okay. Where are you guys going to?
Mercedes Benz.
Okay. I will meet you guys down there. Tell him I'll meet him with another comfort item.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
Nice. Um, so all of those things. So as you can see, one, I'm at my time, but I'm also gonna have to jump off of here so I could get my kid his thing so he could transition well. They need trauma counseling because of their BS. Melissa Durgan. I'm sad for everyone that saw the video without warning. Yeah, I don't watch any of that stuff. Nope, I'm like, absolutely not. Jen says that was supposed to define him. It's when they're shift focus. White people will not deal with racism when Trump is in office. I want white people to deal with the internal hatred of whiteness. like I want, like I that is what I like. We've been dealing with. We will survive, you guys, and your racism, right? That is once you deal with the fact that racism is born because of the internal hatred for each other. Racism is easy because you're not dealing with why you guys hate each other. Why you could look at poor white people and call them trash, right? So this is inescapable, right? Wherever I go, I'm going to still be a nigga. That's not going to change. Kanye said it best, still a nigga in a coupe. I could have all of the degrees. I could have the nicest fucking house. I could speak in the best ways. I could elocute. I could do all of the things. What's not going to change is me being black. Okay? You guys have got to deal with, while Trump is in office, Trump got here to office because why? Because how? He couldn't have risen to this point in power without being co-signed along the way for generations. What happened was, and I wrote about that and I'll put that into this replay, is I literally said they did not vote for Trump. They voted for their daddies. They voted for their brothers who y'all sat down and listened to your uncles talking at Thanksgiving tables and you ignored them and didn't mean anything. And you thought it was just bullshit rhetoric and you listened to them say niggas and faggots and trannies and nobody said anything. Trump rose here because of the internal war and violence within whiteness. And that is what you got to deal with. Trump is in office because he got put there not once, but twice. This is not a fucking anomaly. This is an absolute product of the violence of whiteness and the rhetoric that we, if you have white people, I'm including myself, if you have white family members, have grown up with all around us our whole lives and thought nothing of it because it was so fucking normal. Even me, as a black child growing up in a white home, I remember not being able to go play with the Dominicans. I remember not being able to go play with certain white people because they were considered white trash. And we just normalized that conversation. And we just acted like it wasn't anything. And we never checked it. And here we are, chickens coming home to roost. That is what needs to be dealt with. Lisa says, Monty Python, look at the violence inherent in the system. Jen says, Lisa, you just follow for the application of the Python quote. Okay. Ta-da, Marge. My daughter and I bought guns and took a class. Good job. Good job, Marge, as you should. And continue to go to the range and try to bring other people with you because people need to be able to defend themselves from any threat possible. I applaud that. Abia says it feels like a lot of white fragility on full display, to be honest. Right. But fragile people make deathly choices. Right? And whiteness is fragile because it is not real. because it's a construct, like manhood, like womanhood, like all of those things. Blackness was at one point in time a construct, right? We're just displaced Africans across the diaspora. The truth of the matter is that as Black Americans, we made culture, just like other Africans of the diaspora in their lands. We made our culture, we made our own languages, we made our own kinds of music, our own kinds of foods, our clothes, our spiritual practices. So we turned around and said, you know what? Well, we're going to define what Black looks like for us. White still has not done that. And the only thing that holds whiteness together is power over someone else. Again, it's easy for it to be power over Black people because that's low-hanging fruit, pun intended. But you also have power, white men, you have power over your women. White women, you have power over your children. White children have power over other people's children. You have power over the fucking globe. Imagine being the minority and white people, you oppress the fucking globe everywhere you go. That's a problem. And that's internal. And that needs to be dismantled. Jen says, benevolent racism. Seeing a lot of benevolent white supremacy, if we can call it that. The people advocating for greeting for him and kind of demanding that over or compensatory, whatever. Like, and I can't say it. I'm also rushing. Overcompensatory empathy. I'm not sure what to call it. It's a performance of whiteness. I wouldn't even call it benevolent racism, right? I would call it a performance of whiteness. It is the script that we've all been given that we should do, right? You don't mock someone's death. You don't mock someone's misfortune. It's not real. It's not actual empathy, right? Like it's not empathy is putting yourself in someone else's shoes. And even though you haven't been dealing with it's not impacted you directly, you can feel how that must be awful. I could feel empathy. I could feel empathy for his wife and still hold the truth, right? Like, oh damn, that must be fucked up to see your husband get shot up there. But and also, like, you know what I'm saying? It's like if my husband was like, it goes with the territory. My first husband was in the military. He was in Air Force. He was in the Air Force. Um, If he died during war, it was a part of the job. Do I think that the job should not exist? Yes, right? I do not believe that the military should exist because it doesn't need to exist. It exists because we believe in American exceptionalism and we believe in being in other people's country. The military are the police of the world. If you think that the police should be defunded or you don't believe in Cop City, understand that Cop City was going to happen. More chickens coming home to roost because y'all have been okay with putting bases in other people's country. When a base is in another country, that shit is America. I lived in England for 4 years, and the base in Mildenhall is the only fucking thing in England that has a four-way stop sign because it's America. All the rules change inside that base. It becomes America, right? So Cop City was an inevitability because Cop cities popping up everywhere are simply military bases across the globe. If you're okay with across the globe militarism, then why are you not okay with it here, right? That's chickens coming home to roost also. That's thinking globally, acting locally. So I wouldn't even say that it is benevolent racism or overcompensating, or you know what I'm saying, overcompensating the empathy. I think that it is quite literally a script that we're not even actually touching, right? We're not, do you actually feel bad? What do you feel bad about? What are you touching? What are you okay with? What are you telling me I need to be okay with when you're telling me I should be empathetic? Thinking deeper is not something that is offered to us in the United States of America. Critical thinking is a privilege, which is fucking insane, okay? Da-da-da. Yeah, more infighting when there should be clear accountability and acknowledgement. I kind of wish Substack was a little bit more like TikTok and panels of people. Yeah. And I think you can add more than one, like how we went live. I think you can. And that is a possibility of something that we bring in. Marge says childlike victim for undereducated women is what men want. All those churches where the women have nothing but their kids. Yes, I agree. But when are women walking away from that? Also, right? Because undereducated is the key to American exceptionalism. Our average reading and comprehension level is sixth grade. I just shared this on a post the other day. I was like, and the deliverables that are given, like through the media, are quite literally written at a fourth grade comprehension level so that 80% of the United States American population can consume it. Okay. So there's actually not a ton of education. What happens is people create echo chambers. So you hang out with other fellow educated people. And so you'd think that the majority of the world should understand that, but the majority of the United States does not. You are in an echo chamber. Okay. The majority is 10 years old. Like, are you smarter than my sixth grader? Okay. That's really what it is. Ah, it's a long road, Marge says. Yeah, it really is. It really is. Da-da-da. Lisa agreed, said her aide, because I just can't see you. Good, bad, binary feels like a colonial construct anyway. It leaves no room for being human. It is, Abia. It's part of one of those 15 pillars of the supremacy culture. Ginge says a lot of people figured out that white people have colorism against redheads and gingers. Yeah, which is crazy that they just figured that out. But I mean, I also grew up Irish, so I had more idea of that. Marge says, I love how you think. Well, thank you, Marge. I appreciate that. Jen says, I tend to think of it more like an Amber Heard, Johnny Depp DV. Both people were toxic. Yes. Man, that was fucking good because that trial was so nuanced. Both people were abusive actively, not just reactionarily, and it comes with grief. Yes, I like that, and we should talk more about that. Take your time, Des. Oh, that's when I was talking. I do got to get off of here to go get him. White folks won't deal with whiteness, period, unless they can look in the damn mirror. Right. But that is what we're going to have to do is hold their hands while they do that. Ginge says we won't survive our own racism ultimately. It's destroying us slowly. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's cannibalistic, right? Sue says, yes, the roots are being uncovered. And that is what we want. We want it to be uprooted. I could keep limbing a fucking tree for the next 20 generations, or we could simply uproot the root, right? Knock all of that out and replant something different. Julie says, you are so right. Take care of your baby, and I'll check back in on your page soon. Thank you. I appreciate it. I am going to jump off of here so I can go take care of my baby. Jen says, arm up with whatever you feel comfortable and don't be afraid to rent at range. Yes, before you buy. I agree with that. Go to the range, try different things out, see what you would want for your home and your everyday carry. Do not just go out there and be like, oh, well, somebody said I need a 6 hour. Like, can you carry it? Can you pull it? Can you draw? You should dry fire, all of those things. Abia says, I'm scared to go to the range because of MAGA, but I need to try. Well, Abia, here's community, okay? I want you to gather other fellow liberals, centralists, the leftists, whoever. I want you to gather other friends that are interested in being armed, and you guys go together, right? That's how you do that, right? Power in numbers. Sue says, time to invert this motherfucker. Okay, Suze, I like that energy. Jen says, all veterans are vets of rich white men's work. Come on. That'll preach. My island, Puerto Rico, is still owned by the U.S. Empire. They use it for science experiment. Yeah, like we could really get into a whole lot of what the hell is that? My first husband was Puerto Rican. He's from Rincon. What is the fucking place in that they did the bomb testing, Abia, that I'm thinking in Puerto Rico? Like, yeah, but yes, and it's still a territory, right? Jen says, I was thinking of benevolent sexism and trying to apply that kind of framework to it. You always have the right words. Oh, thank you. I try. I seek them. I try to pull them and see what is being given to me. You have a sig. They're great. I think that they're great. I do, but I don't think that they could be um, for everybody, right? I do think that they are fucking awesome, though. I want to get one myself. All right, I'm going to jump off of here and I will come back. I'm going to go take care of my tiny human um, and see what we could do to help him out. And I will come back. I love you guys. Thank you for sitting with me in these thoughts. Thank you for validating and affirming what I need to do. And just thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. In this replay, I will be putting in, I'm blanking on the name. You know what I'm talking about? I'm gonna Google it real quick because I can't leave it like that. Yeah. Puerto Rico bombing. And he used to talk about it all the time. So I know, like Vieques. I can't even, I was like, I know, because he would have, it was like something that irked him. Like in Vieques, it's still inhabitable today. Am I correct, Abia? Because I could Google it. All right. I am. Thank you. Much love to my family. Much love to you and your folks too. I am going to go. I'm going to go and I take care of my baby. All right. Bye, guys. I'll put some things in here. I will try to run through this and remember what I said I was going to do. I swear I need an AI assistant to be listening to me and tell me my bullet point list. I will come back. I will see you on Friday with friends. We will be joined by Kate Kaufman of Rooted Beginnings. She is amazing. I look forward to it. Bye.